Welcome to Cheat the Spread, powered by 613 Sports.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 6 of Cheat the Spread. I'm your co-host, Cameron Shaddad. I'm joined today by Jack Lovett. Before we check in with Jack, we'll do a little update. First of all, make sure you guys go vote. facesmag.ca/awards. We've got 1 week left. When you see this, there should be about 1 week left. We're trying to take home that W. This is for all of us. We're all trying to catch that W. 613 Sports, best blog. Go vote for us. But let's get back into a little more, little sports gambling action. So just to recap last week real quick, I went 3-1 I'm on a bit of a hot streak right now. I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm 10-6 right now. I had a rough start first couple episodes. I wasn't doing too well, but we've rebounded nicely up to 10-6 against the spread mostly. Jack is 13-10-1. He's on a bit of a cold streak right now. He was 1-3 last week. We'll touch on that in a second. He shouldn't have listened. He should have listened to me. I told him 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, I tried to tell him. I said, Jack, don't trust him. But we'll touch in with Jack real quick now. He went 1-3 last week. And Jack, how did this happen?
I put faith in your boy Jared Goof.
Never ever trust Jared Goof. Everybody out there.
But the thing is, as we were just saying, I don't think Jared Goff is the reason they lost that game. It was just, he actually was okay. I think he completed. I saw his stats. The half he was 18 for 20 with a decent amount of yards. It was just the defense I counted on, didn't really show up. They got over 30 points. I didn't think that was going to happen. And, as far as Akers had a good day, but it just, it didn't come together. And Adams managed to do what he did. He got a bunch of receptions. The way they use him in motion is just so smart. I think that'll be advantageous this week. And so that prop missed too. He went under yards, but of course he went over receptions, which I picked. So just a bad week. I'm not going to bet against Aaron Rodgers at Lambeau anymore, as we'll find out soon.
For sure. And so like Jack said, the Rams flopped last week. Jalen Ramsey let Devontae Adams go off after all that trash talking online before the game and everything like that. So just to touch on quickly for anyone who might not know, this week we're going to see the Bills, Jack's Bills Mafia, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Hopefully Mahomes was playing. Hopefully Patrick Mahomes is playing, not Chad Henne. Because, that's going to be a good game. I know the Bills fans might not want to see Mahomes play. They might want to catch that easy dub. But we want to see Mahomes play. See that good action.
We won't credit. I don't want that asterisk of Chad Henne.
We're also going to have the Green Bay Packers taking on Old Man Tom and the Buccaneers, NFC Championship, two legends. For a long time before Brady won that sixth ring, it was hotly debated who's a better player, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. So, we can maybe put a little more to one side of that argument after this weekend. And also, it would not be 613 Sports without us clowning the Leafs. I told you. I said week 1, we're on the Sens money line, and we're on Sens -1.5 at plus 300. We're giving out free money every week. If you're not tailing us yet, I don't know what you're doing because we're giving out free money every single week.
Cam literally just tripled your bankroll with plus 300 Sens. That's crazy. Money. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Don't sleep. The Sens will always beat the Leafs week 1. I know it doesn't always happen, but you got to have faith. But with that said, we're going to get into this week's picks. Jackson, touch on the overreaction for you guys real quick here.
For sure. So, obviously with the divisional round behind us now, there's only 4 teams left. We really don't have that much to select from. So I'm going to take one side of this, and I'm going to look at the Tampa Bay Green Bay game. And Tampa only getting 3 points. It depends on your book. On Bet365, the line is only 3, which we're going to get to later. But the fact that this line isn't 4 or 4.5 is really confusing to me. Tampa was not impressive last week. Obviously, me and Cam were on New Orleans, and Drew Brees kind of crapped the bed. So annoying. The 2 weeks before, we're on the Bears fading Drew Brees, and they managed to win. And then we're like, okay, Brees is okay. He'll win this game. And then that's when he shits the bed, of course, and we finally count on him. Never fails, yeah. Tampa's defense was impressive in spurts, but it's really what they did. They played press man and forced Drew Brees to go downfield. He didn't get any easy dink and dunks, no easy screen passes. And it worked. He couldn't throw downfield. And when he did, he's throwing interceptions on crazy out routes that any NFL quarterback should hit. So I think that was the main factor. That's not going to be an issue for Aaron Rodgers and Lambeau. If they go zone, he's going to rip them apart. And Kamara actually had a good amount of success. I don't know why they didn't stick with him. I think he ran 18 for 70 some odd yards. So Aaron Jones could have a day. I just think this line should be higher. So obviously I'm going to be on Green Bay later on.
No, for sure. I think we learned last week, it's always tough to bet against Brady. He always finds a way. But definitely that was not a game the Bucs should have won. I think if Jameis Winston was playing or Taysom Hill was playing, the Saints probably win that game, to be honest. I think Drew Brees, it sucks to say for Saints fans out there. I hate them, so I don't care. But, Drew Brees definitely did not play up to what we've seen, up to his standards in the past. And yet again, another disappointing Saints season. Way to go, Saints. But with my underreaction for this week, I'm on the Sabres. We're going back to the NHL. The Sabres only being minus 130 money line against the Capitals Friday night. For those of you who don't know, I don't know what was going on. Some kind of Russian party was happening in Washington. But Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Orlov, and Ilya Samsonov are all going to be out for the foreseeable future for the Capitals. They're all on the COVID list in one way or another, whether it's close contact or actually testing positive. So how can Buffalo has played Washington close 2 games already this year, and now they're playing them without 4 of their top players? I'd say besides maybe Nick Backstrom and John Carlson, these are Washington's best players. So the fact Buffalo's not minus 170 up to the 200s even maybe, I think that's way of an underreaction. We'll touch on that more later, but definitely Buffalo should be a much higher favorite in this game.
Interesting. Obviously, my NHL expertise isn't up to par, but when you have guys like Ovi out, Kuznetsov, and Orlov, I mean, that is sketchy. So I might definitely have to tail that pick from our hockey guru, Cam. But moving along, we're going to go to our stayaways this week. Obviously, looking to the NFL, there's not much to stay away from, so these are kind of iffy for me. But one thing I've been cautious with are totals. The lines are really sharp in the NFL now, obviously with the playoffs. They have more time to dedicate to figuring out what they're going to hang numbers on. And I just think the totals are really sharp. Like that Green Bay Rams game, the under leg of my teaser hit, which was the only thing that hit, but didn't matter because it was a teaser leg last week. And, that was like these games are just so finicky with the total. I just don't think you're getting a huge edge. And I would lean under generally because it's playoff, more intense, slow paced, but totals I'm a bit iffy on. And the only thing other that I'm staying away from is Mahomes' status. Like, obviously, it seems like he's trending upwards. We heard he practiced yesterday. I saw some mixed reports. I don't know if he was a full participant, but if you're a Chiefs backer, you got to watch that. And I know, it depends on how you're going to approach this. If you know you're going to be on the Chiefs and you have faith in Mahomes to get ready, maybe you want to back them now while they're only at -3, because I could get to -3.5 or 4 by kickoff. But for me, that's definitely a stay away. And as we're going to find out, I'm going to be on the other side of that game.
For sure, my stay away. We're going back to the NHL. We're trying to keep it nice and diverse. Since there is only 2 NFL games this week, it would be kind of if we're both staying away from these games, and there's not really much for us to bet on. So I'm gonna go with Detroit Red Wings versus Chicago Blackhawks. I believe Friday night. I mean, if you know the NHL for the last 2 years, these teams suck. This is gonna be a garbage game. It'll probably end up being entertaining because they're both not very good. They're both in the middle of a long-term rebuild, and they got some good prospects in the system, but these teams are not good. They're not NHL caliber really for a lot of their players. They're kind of where the Sens were last year, both of these teams. So this game could really go either way. Who knows what's going to happen. Bobby Ryan's looked good in Detroit, so shout out to Bobby Ryan. Glad he's getting his stuff back together. But this game, who knows which way it's going to go. I'm staying as far away as possible from this one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've heard the Blackhawks are pretty shaky this year, which is odd because they're like the dynasty, but I guess I need to get with the times. So they're not what they were in the past.
Yeah, a lot of injuries this year for the Blackhawks.
Yeah, and Taves opted out. Is that right? Or he's not playing?
He's got some unknown illness. He's out for the foreseeable future, some mystery illness. They don't know what it is.
All right, yeah. Stay away from that. Cam's right on that. All right, we're going to go to our lock dog tease. And I'm going to stick in the NFL, obviously, because I got to soak it up while it's still here. Cam's the hockey guy. My lock is Green Bay -3, as you heard from my overreaction earlier. This line being at a field goal in Lambeau with the weather. Tampa's obviously got his experience in the cold, living in New England for however many years, and you can maybe say Gronk, but the idea that transfers to the whole other team, he's been used to living in Florida. You just got to back Rodgers at a field goal or less in this big game. It's hard to see Rodgers only having 1 Super Bowl by the end of his career. Maybe this is the year he does it, but I want to be on that side, and I'm fine betting against Tom if I have to.
No, for sure. I think you make a good point with the cold weather games, that kind of thing. We've seen Tom Brady obviously playing in New England, so that's different for him. But I mean, if you look at it, Leonard Fournette played in Jacksonville and LSU for his whole pro career. Chris Godwin's been in the Tampa Bay his whole pro career. Mike Evans, Devin White, all these stars on the Bucs have never really played cold weather playoff games before, so that could come to be a huge factor as we see with Green Bay. And I mean, if you're from Ottawa, Green Bay, Ottawa should have pretty similar weather, maybe even a little bit colder. So yeah, this could be, especially if it snows. I don't know if it's gonna snow. It won't. But I think it would have a little extra flair to it. I wouldn't be upset seeing it snow, but
yeah, for
that's
sure.
just me.
And we saw that with
for this week.
Sorry, I'm just going to step in and say quickly.
Sorry,
I probably didn't factor in the weather enough with the Rams last week defense. I thought, they'll be fine. So I'm going to drink my medicine, and I'm not sure they're going to be fine. So I'm back in Green Bay. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. So my lock, I touched on it a little bit earlier. I kind of already gave you some reasons, but I'm going Sabres money line -130. As soon as you watch this video, I would go check that line and try and get it right away because I got a feeling it's going to go even higher before game time. So I would try and get this line in as soon as you can. Buffalo should win this game. Jack Eichel's been rolling. Taylor Hall's looking good. They're a little bit shaky on goalie and defense, but I mean, Washington's missing so much firepower. I just don't see how you can't back Buffalo in this game. If they lose, I will be shocked. I will be shocked if Buffalo loses this game.
Yeah, this is really a case in point of you're making a good bet. Whether or not you win, getting the Sabres against a COVID ravaged team at -130, that's just a good bet. So I definitely agree that's a strong lock. And for my dog, I mean, I've been waiting my whole life for this. My team is in the AFC Championship. I mean, if you would have told me this year with Diggs coming over, it's been a fairy tale, and I don't want it to end. And to be honest, I don't think it's going to end. Even if Mahomes plays, I like our chances. You look at the earlier game in the year, it was a bad weather game. It was rescheduled for the Bills. Clyde Edwards-Helaire ran all over us. They're not going to have him. And I just think that game, Josh Allen also might have had some lingering shoulder issues during that game. So I just think the cards were really stacked against us. And we can match up well against this Kansas City team. We can spread them out. The only question is obviously Mahomes. And since there's that question mark, I feel comfortable taking the points in what should be a really close and entertaining game.
For sure. And as you're going to see, my dog is also the Bills. My dog's been pretty cashed. Obviously, not a lot of stuff to pick from this week. We don't have too many options for our dog. Hockey games are usually pretty close. NBA lines don't always come out as early as NHL lines. We don't always have them available when we're recording this. But NFL only have 2 games. But I'm confident the Bills can pull this off, especially Mahomes' status is lingering. He might have turf toe. We don't know. He's banged up. We'll just put it like that. Mahomes has a lot of injuries right now. He's not feeling good this morning. So the Bills have a puncher's chance of winning this game. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they win. I think this game's going to come down. So we've seen it in the past. I mentioned it 2 weeks ago when they were playing the Colts as well. The Bills get eaten up by tight ends. If they could slow down Kelsey, even just contain him. I think the Bills will win this game. That's what's going to win or lose this game for the Bills, I think, in my opinion.
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely a great point. Tight ends have eaten us up the whole year. So I think maybe that's the thing to challenge. Maybe Milano has done some good things in coverage. So we'll see. But a strategy we did earlier in the year that kind of bit us in that bad weather game was playing zone and sort of letting them run us and just saying, okay, beat us like this. We're not going to let your pass game get going. So it makes it something similar to that. And I just think this Bills team has come a lot further. So yeah, I also want to add it that I will be sprinkling on the money line. And I think I'm going to wait till before kickoff to bet this game because I suspect I can't see Mahomes not playing. And when that happens, I can't see the public not backing Kansas City. So I think this line might actually move in our favor if you're on the Bills side. So it's a bit risky because if he doesn't play, then Buffalo's going to be favored and he lost out on value. But I think I'm going to wait till before kick. And moving on to my tease, Cam and I we have the same teaser. Buffalo +9 and over 48 if Mahomes plays. And as this was Cam's idea, but he decided if Mahomes doesn't play, then take the under, which I think is a good idea because I don't know what Chad Henne's going to be able to do, right? So looking at the other game, it doesn't make sense to tease Green Bay through 0, and that total I have no idea what to do with, to be honest. I could see a shootout, I could see low scoring, so I'm comfortable staying in this game.
Yeah, for sure. So you're going to see Jack and I actually have the same pick again for our dogs and our teasers. I'm on the Bills +9. I think this game, no matter what happens, it'll be a close game. I'd be very surprised if this is a blowout one way or another, unless, of course, Chad Henne's playing. That's why I said if you can get this game teased to over 48 and Mahomes is playing, I think that's great value. We've seen the Chiefs get in shootouts quite often. The Browns last week, that was the only bet that I lost was the Browns over, and they were close. If that touchdown, if the guy doesn't fumble the ball through the back of the end zone, we hit it. If they didn't punt the ball at the end there, I don't know why Stefanski punted the ball in the fourth quarter on the Browns' last drive. So there was lots of chances that the hit. That's what happens in sports betting sometimes. But yeah, so if Mahomes is playing, take over 48. If Henne's playing, you can get that up to 61. Take the under. Because, the offense is not the same with Chad Henne back there. It's one thing to do this for like a fourth quarter, and we can call up like his favorite plays, but it's a whole different thing for 4 straight quarters of Chad Henne. That would be a terrible game. So I'm on Bills +9, over 48 with Mahomes, under 61 with Chad Henne.
Yeah, and that under 61 makes a ton of sense because even if the Bills, in theory, and I don't think this would happen, but if the Bills put up 35, how many points are we getting from Henne? If Henne has 24, then we cash with 59. So I think that's a really smart philosophy you have there. And now
we're going to get props.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay away this week. I'm ice cold on the props right now. I'm 0-2, my prop record in the postseason. And Jack, he's at 3-3, but he's had some good value there that just didn't cash. It happens. So Jack's going to take care of the props for you guys this week.
For sure. I think a lot of value is in props. They're extremely volatile. Last week, Lamar Jackson's rushing attempts didn't cash because he got hurt. That was pacing pretty well. So, stuff like that can always happen. I had one last week with the Saints game I felt really good about that I found right before the game with Deontay Harris, who had he was the crazy special teams guy who was going nuts. And he had 7 receptions on like little dink and dunk screen passes the week before. And I found over 1.5 receptions at -114 for a guy who had 7 the week before, and with Drew Brees, who had no ability to throw it deep. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to hammer this. I laid a full unit on it, and he got hurt with 1 reception in the first quarter. That's the thing with props. So anyways, that's what I'm speaking to sort of say, like, it's tough. But there's a couple I like this week. The first one I like this week, I'm sticking with the Bills. Josh Allen over 25.5 completions at Kansas City. This number is way too low. Like, I don't understand this. We saw last week versus Baltimore how pass dominant the Bills are willing to be. They called 0 rush plays in the first half. None. In a football game, people talk about pass rush balance. Brian Dable said, screw that, we're passing the whole freaking game with like crazy wins too. So we know that they're willing to pass the ball a ton and spread people out. Not only does the weather forecast look decent, but I think this game's going to be competitive. And even if the Bills are up or down, I think they're going to keep their foot on the gas. That's who they've been the whole year. In games where he has had 35 plus pass attempts, which I think is a reasonable number to have, he's hit this 9 out of 12 times, and 2 of those were due to weather, the reason he didn't, in my opinion. So I think this is a smash spot for that. I'm really liking that prop. The other lean that I have would be Leonard Fournette over 41.5 rush yards in Green Bay for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The only question mark with this one is whether or not he gets a workload, because I heard Rojo is sort of pacing better. They might play Ronald Jones a bit. But if he's banged up and splits carries, like, I could see Fournette getting 50, even splitting the touches. Green Bay's rush D isn't that good. They allowed 111 rush yards a game, in spite of being a really good team that you'd think teams would have to pass more because they're up, but they still allowed a lot. So if we see anything on Rojo, maybe not being in great shape, maybe hop on this, or I think I'll probably be on it regardless. So that would be my other lean for you guys.
For sure, and I'll touch on quickly just also, there's an account on Twitter Jack and I both follow. It's prop stars with a Z at the end instead of an S. We follow him both pretty closely, and I bet a lot of his plays at least, and he's been pretty cash for me recently, especially with the NBA and stuff like that. He has Tyreek over 5.5 receptions. I think this is like around like -160, -170. So there's not a whole lot of great value there. If you can find this at a more favorable line, I would bet that. I think it's a pretty good bet. But if you're in like the 160, 170 area, I'd still bet on it, but I wouldn't bet as much as you normally would. I would maybe go half a unit or something like that, because it is pretty steep juice to pay for a prop bet, whereas, as we said, anything can happen really.
For sure, yeah. If you were to get hurt and you're laying 160 juice, that would be awful. I'm just going to clarify because your connection got a bit shaky there. So that's Tyreek Hill over 5.5 receptions. And at our books, it's like -160, which is crazy. But I did put a decent amount on that. I don't see a scenario where Tyreek Hill doesn't get like at least 7, especially if Chad Henne's in, because I think then they're going to have to use their weapons and make some screen passes or something. So if you're willing to lay that juice, I think that's a great look. And moving on.
Sure. So we're gonna get into our joint pick now. We're trying to keep, I don't know how Jack and I are both doing well with these joint picks, just somehow aren't working the best for us. Right now we're 1-4, but we're gonna turn that around. We're turning that around.
Yeah.
We're gonna finish on the NFL season. We're on Green Bay -3. Like Jack said before, wait till kickoff, because we think the money's gonna come in on Tom Brady. The public loves Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Love it or hate it, the public loves to bet on Tom Brady. So I feel a lot of money's gonna come in on him right before game time, and that line's gonna drive up in Green Bay's favor and be more favorable for bettors like us. So we're on Green Bay -3. We touched on it already. Cold weather doesn't favor the Bucs. Green Bay is used to that. Aaron Rodgers has been fire. Him and Devontae Adams are on fire. I don't care who's on the Bucs secondary. No one can stop Devontae Adams. Aaron Jones might eat. This could be his last game with the Packers if they lose. He's gonna want to show off. So we're on Green Bay -3. I think there's just some great value there, and Jack can give you a little bit more thoughts on it as well.
For sure. I mean, we've touched on a lot of it. Part of this might be me last week betting against them and just being mad at myself, so I want to be on them this week. I mean, the way they schemed Devontae Adams to get open is just so creative. Like, they had him on Jalen Ramsey, and then they use him in motion to just get him a wide open touchdown. You don't see many teams getting wide open touchdowns like that in the playoffs. And like Cam was saying, the only reason this line isn't 3.5 or 4 is because Tom Brady's the quarterback. Like, you can't tell me there's any other reason this line isn't at least 4 with how these teams have been performing. So I think there's value on this side. That's what I'm going to be backing. And yeah, I mean, just closing out here, I want to say it's been a good season. Obviously not over. We're going to have the Super Bowl, but this is really the last weekend with more than one NFL game. So let's enjoy this. Best of luck with all your bets. And with the hockey, I know I'm going to be trailing some of that. But yeah, I'm gonna send it off to Cam to sign us out.
For sure, yeah. Like Jack said, we're gonna enjoy some great football this weekend. Let's hope Mahomes plays. I hate the Chiefs now because they beat the Niners Super Bowl last year, but we want to see some good football. The Bills and Chiefs would probably be the best game of the NFL season so far. We get to watch two 75-year-old quarterbacks in the NFC. Maybe the Niners playing there. I'm just saying. But we're going to have some great football this weekend. We're going to have some good hockey. Hopefully, Timmy Superstar. He's not playing tonight, which is Thursday, but hopefully he's going to be back soon. That goal he scored was freaking sick. We got some great sports going on. So let's just enjoy it, Go follow some of our vets. Hopefully you win some money while you enjoy these games. And, that's it. Make sure you go vote, facesmag.ca/awards. Like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned and stay out the damn box. Peace.
Yeah, I'm leaving. Ice on me, man. I got diamonds, but they say that I don't need them. She gon' need me.